Okay, so I'm really happy to be here. I was just speaking with my business mentor on a phone, and actually some of us experienced the strikes during the weekend in exactly the same way. So basically our flights were canceled, we lost our luggage, we had to sleep overnight on the airport or hotel of the airport. So it's like really long way for me today to get here to you guys, but I'm really happy that I've made it and I can share with you a little bit of the story, what we are doing, who we are. We have David today with us. He's our CTO as well, so he's gonna also explain a little bit more in detail technology behind what we are doing. And I would love to tell you a little bit more about kind of the idea, philosophy, and kind of story behind what we are doing at Orion Vault. So essentially I'm a daughter of ballet dancer and businessman and lawyer, you might say. So kind of two different worlds, business and art. I've seen my mother struggle all her life in terms of financials, but also, you know, kind of working in institution of opera house. And one day, after few years of doing mostly ad tech, I started to look for opportunities to invest in art. And I found this space so old school, so difficult to navigate. I had to pick up a phone to actually make a purchase, to find out if there's actually any inventory in the gallery that is showing on the online shop. So I found this process super difficult for, you know, kind of newbie as I am to enter the art market. And this is where we started to think together with a co-founder who is actually also my husband, so we are doing a family business. We started to think, okay, so what type of value can we bring to this space? What technology can support us to actually make the art market available to global investors, not only the high net worths and art collectors who know the drill, but also to people like myself, for example, who don't really know where to start and who can support us. And we started to work on Orion half a year ago. And we are also philosophers by education. So we always start to think about new ventures and ideas by finding the three principles that we want to lay down the grounds on before we do any business. So at Orion, essentially what we do and what we focus on in creating the business model and kind of technology also behind it is that we think all things are moving into digital space. So that's the first principle, and it's kind of obvious what we see, that a lot of value and a lot of valuable things that we call, for example, in the past days, gold or diamonds, probably in the next generation will not be that valuable anymore. There will be much more value stored in only digital assets. So the best example is obviously Bitcoin, where you don't really have any securities behind it. The other principle that we believe in is building business model that's sustainable on its own. So knowing how difficult it is for any artist to thrive throughout their career, and museums to curate their collections, we wanted to build a model that's going to work for all of the parties, not only for us, not only for investors, but also to give benefits to people who actually make the whole culture and art. And this is also the third principle, social business model. So we not only focus on how to make, you know, your art, digital art investment work better for your portfolio, but also how to make the donation of museums and artists and patronage programs work better. So the problem that we saw on the market, just briefly, you can put into two buckets. One is inaccessibility of the art market, something that I mentioned before, and also lack of transparency. So those things, I think all of us agree on. We know how high the fees are for purchasing any art pieces. It's even up to 40-50%, which is humongous. Also, the entry level to art market is very high. If you want to purchase, if you want to take part in Art Found, it's usually an investment of at least $250,000 to even start to talk. And how we found the solution. So, as I mentioned before, we truly believe that all things will move into digital space, and also what we call valuable things will be represented in fully digital way. So we are digitalizing the world's finest art. Also the art pieces that would never be available to any investors to invest in. So for example, Mona Lisa that sits in Louvre, or some of the art pieces that are kept in vaults by art collectors. So we basically create a new digital asset out of them, not securities. We don't rely on physical asset. We are creating the new digital asset out of them by using gigapixel cameras and essentially representing in a very beautiful way the painting itself. And also we are working with current contemporary artists to basically help them monetize on the art pieces that they do on video, using music, performance, etc. And we are using for this obviously blockchain, because we can not only track ownership, but we can also certify the art pieces, and thanks to it we can actually make the business of doing new media art truly a career for artists. Because what they struggle right now is that nobody knows where is the original copy of their art piece and what's the value of it. So this is what we are bringing. What is interesting, I think, from museums and artists that we partner with, is that we give them carry commission for life. So it means that, for example, museum that works with us gives us opportunity to digitalize the famous art pieces. They get carry commission on any transaction that's ever made on this actual piece of work. The same thing goes for artists, so they can have exposure to patrons on our platform, get donations for the work that they're doing, and also get the profits from future sales of their artworks. As you know, guys, right now, usually it's like sell and go. You never know what's going to happen with your work. And for us, it's important to use blockchain technology to trace the full history of ownership, how much you paid for each piece of art, and essentially give profits to the actual creator of the art piece. So benefits. Essentially for investors, it's kind of straightforward. Make more money on trusted, secure investments. For collectors, what we are providing is being able to own art pieces that they would never be available for sale. For artists and museums, essentially we are supporting them with patronage programs and carry commissions. And for society, essentially we are aiming to digitalize most of the art pieces that were ever created. So we want to create a digital state of art and culture. And why do we think this concept is going to work? So one thing I mentioned before, kind of collectibles, Bitcoin shows us and proves us that maybe securitizing value on blockchain is a great way to start, but maybe there's also opportunity to build fully digitalized work. Also from museums' perspective and artists, already we can see that, and we are also speaking with some of the biggest museums and kind of understanding what their struggles are, is that they are facing tremendous difficulties with donation piece of their business. So this is where we truly believe we can bring a lot of value to them, and obviously our wonderful team that I'm going to talk in a bit. So this is how the product looks. We are also launching the proper MVP in the next 3 weeks. So you can essentially have a look and feel how it looks like. we're aiming to also build social elements around it, so that, for example, you can give likes or hearts to artists that you truly like, and these are the actual tokens. So you can create a valuable relationship by monetizing also what you like and what you don't like. So the market size, essentially, it's around 50 billion right now, and 4 billion out of it is online market, online art, which mostly is covered by Artsy and others. Business model, as I mentioned, the carry commission. So we as a platform charge 5% on transactions, then we have 1% fee on all donations, and also carry commission for lifetime for museums and artists. And the competition, you might be interested in what's going on in this space, and some of you guys mentioned Veris art, I think, before. So how we see ourselves is that a lot of is happening in the middle, so between physical assets and kind of using blockchain only for its one feature to basically just build registry of art pieces. And what we are trying to do is position ourselves on the right-hand side, where we have broad business model, sustainable business model, and also work only in digital assets without the physical securities. So our team, basically, we are tech geeks, I would say, most of us with some huge affinity towards art, and most of us are ex-Googlers, Facebook guys, JP Morgan, also successful startups, and we are based in Zug, here in this town, and some of our friends are based in New York, London, and also in Asia, because we feel that for us specifically, Asian market is the biggest one. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you so much.